The movie starts with a guy named Noboru heading back to his hometown after a long time. He's returning because he got invited to a book launch for a book he wrote. When he reaches his destination, he meets an old school friend, Tetsuko, and her daughter. They decide to grab a meal and catch up. Tetsuko compliments Noboru for becoming a famous author, but he thinks not much has changed in their hometown. Noboru also remembers his school days when he used to admire Tetsuko. Noboru is also curious about who Tetsuko will have as her boyfriend, and is reminded of the past. Back when he was a new student, he saw Tetsuko giving a towel to Miyazaki, a senior and a friend of his. But he also noticed Miyazaki with another girl, although he didn't think much of it. After school, Miyazaki meets up with Noboru near the station. Miyazaki figures out that Noboru is a younger student from their school. They chat about old memories, and Noboru gathers the courage to ask about Miyazaki's girlfriend, Tetsuko. Noboru also confesses that he once spotted Miyazaki with a short-haired girl. Hearing this, Miyazaki quickly changes the subject by asking if Noboru has a girlfriend. Noboru admits he doesn't have one and believes no girl would want to date him. The following day, Miyazaki runs into Noboru in class and invites him to the library. There, Noboru spots the short-haired girl he saw with Miyazaki before. Miyazaki introduces Noboru to the girl, named Momose. The scene then shifts to the future, where Tetsuko is getting ready to say goodbye, but Noboru stops her because he wants to share a long-hidden secret. It all started when Miyazaki introduced Noboru to Momose, and they pretended to be a couple. Because Miyazaki had a tricky plan. He went to hide his affair with Momose, so he thought up this scheme to make people believe that Momose and Noboru were dating. Noboru agreed to play along, and they all promised to keep it a secret. However, Momose got really clingy with Noboru at school, always holding his hand, which made him feel awkward. But he went along with it to help his friend. They kept up this act for 2 weeks, and during every break, Momose would drag Noboru to the school rooftop. That's where she could drop the act and be herself without other friends watching. Finally, Noboru got the guts to ask Momose how she and Miyazaki first met. Turns out, she used to visit him at his workplace a lot and ran into him frequently. She also confessed that she never liked anyone else. Then she asked Noboru about Miyazaki's childhood, and he was about to continue his story, but Momose had dozed off, so he decided to save the story for another time. The next day, Noboru and Momose met again in the locker room. Momose seemed happy and showed Noboru a book that Miyazaki had given her. She was over the moon about it and read it all night. Noboru, in turn, shared a keychain from his childhood, given by Miyazaki. But Momose kinda took the keychain from him and then left Noboru. During class, Momose couldn't take her eyes off the keychain. After school, as they were leaving, Miyazaki and Tetsuko crossed their path. Momose once again grabbed Noboru's hand. Miyazaki introduced Tetsuko to both of them, and Tetsuko noticed their closeness, inviting them to chat. Even though Momose was feeling a bit jealous, she tried to hide it and didn't realize she was still holding on to Noboru's hand as they left school. Noboru finally asked her to let go, saying their relationship didn't make sense, but Momose, head over heels for Miyazaki, said she'd keep waiting for him and walked away. That evening, like always, Momose headed to Miyazaki's workplace. His coworkers couldn't help but notice how pretty they thought she was. But Miyazaki admitted to his coworkers that he and Momose were just friends. Momose overheard their chat, but tried to keep her cool. Later, when Miyazaki met Noboru, he mentioned that Tetsuko no longer suspected him of cheating, and things were going smoothly in their relationship. But Momose, deeply smitten with Miyazaki, didn't pay much attention to this. After reaching home, Miyazaki called Noboru to express his gratitude, as their little scheme with Momose seemed to have worked, and Tetsuko didn't believe the gossip about them. However, Noboru was worried about Momose and wanted to reach out to her. Still, he hesitated and eventually decided not to. On the other hand, Momose returned home with a sad expression. She felt hurt by the act they were putting on, but her feelings for Miyazaki made her continue with it. The following day, Noboru noticed that Momose was becoming closer to Tetsuko, and they even waved at him. He felt weighed down by the fake relationship. Soon, he felt a sharp pain in his stomach and had to visit the school infirmary. Momose came to check on him and shared that Tetsuko had invited them on a trip. Without hesitation, Noboru agreed, willing to do anything for Miyazaki. Momose insisted on helping him pick the right outfit for the outing. When they arrived at Noboru's house, his mom was surprised to see him with a girl. She was delighted, thinking her son was growing up. Momose asked permission to enter Noboru's room to find suitable clothes. In his room, Momose rummaged through Noboru's closet and found a stylish suit, which Noboru revealed was an heirloom from Miyazaki's late father. At that moment, Momose didn't know about Miyazaki's father. She playfully teased Noboru while trying on the suit, and it was clear that Noboru was starting to develop feelings for her. Later, Noboru's mom prepared food and Momose enjoyed the meal. She complimented the food and even helped wash the dishes, making Noboru like her even more. Later, Noboru walked Momose home. On the way, Momose praised Noboru's mom for her kindness and briefly mentioned her own dad, who rarely came home and often lied about taking her to the zoo. In truth, Momose hated people who lied. When Noboru heard this, he suggested ending the pretense because neither of them felt comfortable with the fake relationship. However, Momose refused, explaining that it was her idea because her love for Miyazaki was too strong. As they reached the train station, Noboru began to realize that he was developing feelings for Momose and paying more attention to her. When Momose arrived home, her 4 younger siblings eagerly awaited her to prepare their meal. Momose was incredibly caring toward her siblings and immediately started making food for them. It was clear she had taken on a motherly role. The following day, while Noboru was in class, Momose came and invited him to the rooftop to tidy up his hair, wanting him to look handsome for their upcoming trip. After Momose had fixed Noboru's hair, they chatted and joked with each other, bringing them closer together. When the holiday finally came, they spotted Miyazaki and Tetsuko waiting for them. Noboru and Momose joined them, and afterward the girls decided to stop by a store, leaving Miyazaki and Noboru waiting at a distance. It was then that Miyazaki confided in Noboru that his connection with Momose was growing stronger, resembling that of a real couple. The 4 of them decided to watch a movie together, though Momose felt jealous seeing Miyazaki and Tetsuko getting closer. Meanwhile, Noboru was feeling unwell because he had been too nervous to sleep the previous night. Momose, noticing his discomfort, suggested they didn't have to go into the cinema and could wait outside. Soon after, Miyazaki and Tetsuko approached them and invited them inside. However, Momose made an excuse, suggesting that she would stay with Noboru in the waiting area. In truth, it was her way of avoiding seeing Miyazaki and Tetsuko always together. After the movie, the 4 of them headed to a park. Momose spotted rowboats available on the lake in the middle of the park and suggested they all go for a ride. Miyazaki jokingly mentioned that couples who rode together would break up, leading them to switch partners. Miyazaki with Momose and Noboru with Tetsuko. Noboru felt quite awkward around Tetsuko, but he made an effort to start a conversation by talking about the movie they had just watched, hoping it would ease the tension. Later, they took a break and enjoyed some ice cream together, savoring the park's tasty treats. During their ice cream chat, Tetsuko revealed that she'd never had ice cream before because her family didn't allow her to buy snacks outside. This reminded Noboru of a childhood incident when Miyazaki had pulled a prank on him by dividing his ice cream into 8 parts, which made him angry at Miyazaki. They continued swapping stories from their past. After their meal, they decided to play catch, and they all had a blast, feeling happy and excited. However, in the midst of the game, Momose threw the ball a bit too hard, sending it splashing into the lake. Eventually, they called it a day and began heading home. Along the way, Tetsuko gave Miyazaki a paper lantern flower. This flower might usually symbolize negative things like infidelity or betrayal, but Miyazaki didn't grasp its deeper meaning at that moment. To him, it was just a regular flower. However, Noboru, who noticed it, was taken aback and puzzled because he understood the meaning of the flower. Miyazaki and Tetsuko got off at their bus stop, saying their goodbyes to Momose and Noboru, who continued to the next stop. Momose couldn't help but feel jealous, seeing her beloved Miyazaki getting close to Tetsuko. Noboru also understood how Momose felt in that moment. When they reached the next stop, Noboru wanted to see Momose off, but she declined, wanting some alone time. She ran off, leaving Noboru behind. As Noboru tried to catch up with her, he accidentally got his foot tangled in a bicycle, causing several bikes to fall. That's when Tanabe, one of Noboru's classmates, saw the whole thing and invited him to chat at a cafe. During their conversation, Noboru opened up about his issues with Momose. Hearing Nogoru's story, Tanabe revealed that he had feelings for Momose as well. Tanabe encouraged Nogoru to summon the courage to pursue the love he desired. Without wasting time, Nogoru hopped on his bicycle and headed to Miyazaki's house to meet him. Miyazaki's house used to be a boutique that belonged to his late dad, and it had been unused for a long time. When Nogoru visited, they reminisced about their childhood memories in that room. However, Nogoru's real reason for the visit was to talk to Miyazaki about his feelings for Momose. He showed Miyazaki the scar on his leg from the bicycle accident Miyazaki had helped him with, carrying him to the nearest clinic. This incident had made Nogoru deeply grateful to Miyazaki, and he was willing to do anything in return. But then, Miyazaki asked about Nogoru's dreams. Before Nogoru could answer, Miyazaki mentioned his own desire to reopen his dad's boutique, no matter what it took. Nogoru understood the implication of Miyazaki's words that he was using Tetsuko to revive and expand the business. So Nogoru asked about Momose's place in Miyazaki's heart at that moment. Miyazaki replied that Momose was a good match for Nogoru and encouraged them to start a real relationship. This made Nogoru angry, and he expressed that Momose shouldn't be treated that way. In response, Miyazaki promptly wrote a letter addressed to Momose, and the very night, Nogoru went to Momose's house to deliver it. When Nogoru arrived at Momose's house, he tried to find her room, but he accidentally knocked over some items, causing Momose to wake up and come out. Later on, Nogoru handed the letter from Miyazaki to Momose. She read it and then asked Nogoru to take a walk with her. Momose explained that the letter stated Miyazaki didn't want to see her again and was ending their relationship. It hit Momose hard, and she cried while reading it. Nogoru, being there for her, tried to comfort her and understand her feelings. With Miyazaki and Momose's relationship ending, the charade between Nogoru and Momose also came to an end. Fast forward to the present, it turns out Tetsuko is indeed married to Miyazaki, and they have a daughter. Moreover, Miyazaki now has a fairly popular boutique in the area, just as he had mentioned to Nogoru in the past. Later, Nogoru gave a novel to Tetsuko and explained that the paper lantern flower given to Miyazaki symbolizes betrayal and infidelity. In other words, Nogoru realized that Tetsuko had known about the charade. However, Tetsuko asked Nogoru to keep it a secret because it happened a long time ago and they are now adults. After his conversation with Tetsuko, Nogoru said goodbye and headed to his school to sign the novel he wrote. When he got to school, he took a stroll reminiscing about past events. On his way back home, he ran into Momose. Strangely, she didn't recognize him this time and just walked past without a second glance. And that's how the movie ends. The moral lesson from the story: don't pretend to be in a relationship with someone to hide secrets, because it can lead to a mess of confusion, unexpected emotions, and even cases of mistaken identity.